right. Think we're alive? Yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ask Ron Live. It's Friday. That's when I typically do these. And as you know, this is a very clickbaity title. Why do I do that? So click on it and watch, because otherwise, how do I get you to watch? And I think this is a really interesting subject, leg training and the amount of reps needed to stimulate hypertrophy, maximum growth in your legs. Had a little debate on Facebook yesterday, because I personally don't believe very low reps have any place in leg training for a bodybuilder. A guy that I know, actually, he's a very accomplished strength coach. He did some bodybuilding, but very much more versed in strength training, powerlifting, those things. He says, lower reps have a place as well. You need to do all types of reps. And to a point, I agree with that. Another part of me says, no, I think the risk is too high when you're going that heavy. You need to rest a long time between sets. You have to do more volume to make up for the lack of reps that you're doing. I actually want to read you guys something real quick from Facebook. So Jim Stepani, because all we know is bro science. So I want to see if there was any real science, because I don't want to just talk out of my ass. I do enough of that. So this was Jim Stepani, PhD, very, very intelligent guy. And this is an article he wrote, I don't know when. Best rep range for muscle growth. So this is just muscle growth in general. From a science standpoint, there's actually not a lot that we know about muscle growth. One thing that we do know based on research and decades of anecdotal reports from bodybuilders is that rep ranges about 8 to 12 reps per set seem to be the sweet spot for building muscle. Reps of 6 or less also seem to be best for building strength. Yet for some reason, there is still debate in many gyms about whether or not heavyweight and low reps is best to build muscle versus lighter weight and higher reps. Research from Finland and the US shows further support for higher rep ranges of 8 to 12. The researchers had subjects perform a leg workout doing either 5 sets of 10 reps or 15 sets of 1 rep, then immediately took a muscle sample from the quads to analyze the muscle for biomechanical factors that instigate muscle growth. They specifically were looking at mitogen activated protein kinase, MAPK, signaling pathways. These pathways are one thing that we do know leads to muscle growth. They reported in the Scandinavian Journal of Medicine, Science, and Sports that only when the subjects did the 5 sets of 10 reps was there an increase in MAPK signaling. When they did the 1 rep sets using very heavy weight, they saw no boost in MAPK signaling. Jim's take-home message, again, this is from Jim Stepani, PhD. Want to give him full credit for this. If muscle growth is your main objective, then be sure that a good deal of your workouts are done using reps in the sweet spot for muscle growth, 8 to 12 reps. That being said, you don't want to always train in the 8 to 12 range. Sticking with the rep range for too long will only lead to stagnation and limit your results. That is why you also need to train with heavyweight and lighter reps, fewer than 8 reps per set, and as few as 2 per set, and also very light for higher reps, more than 12 and even as high as 30 reps on some sets to keep progressing and keep muscles growing. Plus, using a wider range of reps provides your muscles and your overall body more benefits like greater strength and muscle endurance. Okay, thanks for bearing through that, guys. One thing that I immediately thought of after reading that was comparing the leg development of 2 guys who were actually very good friends. They were both legends in the industry. One is still with us. The other was Fred Hatfield, Dr. Squat. He was a PhD. I can't remember what his doctorate was in. Wrote for Muscle and Fitness, the Weider magazines for many, many years. Wrote many books. He was the world record holder in the squat. At age 45, at a weight of 255 pounds, he squatted 1,014 pounds, which was a world record for any weight division at the time. Now, his legs weren't spectacular. His good friend Tom Platz, on the other hand, sure you're all familiar with Tom Platz. They call him the Quad Father. To this day, you think about legs, his name always comes up. I'm not even sure to this day, 40 years past his prime. We're looking at a video here from 1981, which was 44 years ago we're looking at. So I think we do see guys today who have built similar levels. I mean, Big Ramy comes to mind. Jen reminded me about Hassan Mustafa. The new guy from China, Lian Yang, goes by Xiaoming Yan. He's got tremendous quads. That's the one I used a picture of in the thumbnail for this. Also, tremendous leg development. So Paul DeMeo, the late Paul DeMeo, also had some great quads. So with all due respect to Tom, I do think we've seen some guys who have reached that level of development. Of course, we've seen so many advances in pharmacokinetics. I'm sure the current crop of pro bodybuilders uses a much heavier doses of gear and other drugs, of course, PEDs. I don't think that's anyone's going to deny that for a fact. But Tom was not a guy who did low reps. Tom was known for squatting heavy weights, relatively for high reps. We have a video of him doing 500 pounds for 23 reps. These were ass to the grass. When Tom squatted, it was all the way down. Oh, there's Jen. Hey, Jen. Jen, you're on screen. So Tom did not do low reps. 500 for 23. He did 315 pounds for 52 reps. He did 225 pounds for 10 minutes straight with no pause. That's 245s on the side. I think they lost count at 100 reps. It was over 100 reps with 225. Typically, he squatted in the 10 to 15 range. That was his leg training in general. For most exercises, 10 to 15 reps was where he liked to work. And it would be anywhere from, he did a little higher volume. It would be 5 to 8 work sets. You can see Bill Kazmaier, the great strongman in the background behind Tom. You can also see, it looks like Fred Hatfield was sitting back there watching too. The one time he did try to go a little heavier that I could find, at a body weight of 228, Tom Platt squatted 635, which is, that 6 plates is 585. So it's 4. Anyway, it was 635 pounds for 8 reps, but he never did low reps. And I've found, and I'm not saying that low reps have no place at all, but I just don't see the point in going as low as, say, 1 to 3 reps, mainly because of the strain on your tendons. As you guys might know, if you follow me on Instagram or anything, at Ron Harris Muscle. If you don't, get on there. I should have more subscribers. Come on. I know I sound very needy, begging you to subscribe, but or to follow me. But I tore my quadricep tendon on August 30th, so I'm a little extra aware of tendons right now. I just do, and I never went below 4 or 5 reps, but I did throw a lot of those sets in my 20s. It was pure ego lifting just to see if I could do it. Of course, when you're young and you're enthusiastic and you're getting stronger all the time, especially on something like a squat or a bench press, it's only natural to want to really push your limits and boundaries and go for a little more weight every week. It's exciting because muscle growth is a slow process. You don't see progression, week by week. But when you're young, especially in the first couple of years of training, and then if you throw anabolics in your first few cycles, let's say, you're going to see strength increases at a fairly regular level. Like week by week is not, it's not unheard of at all. I mean, I remember the first year I used gear, I went from, what's that? Yeah. The first year I was on gear, I went from squatting, I think 315 for 12 or 365 for 12, which I had done all natural, to I was doing 405 within like 4 or 5 months. I had a whole other plate on there. And then I started getting stupid with the ego lifting and my depth and all that. But I'm just saying it is something you see. So I always found that a mix of reps worked very well. I did sets that were 4 to 6. I did a lot of sets for squats and hack squats that were more like 8 to 12. Leg press, most of the time was in the 10 to 20 range, but I would do some over the years sets on the leg press, especially as high as 50 reps. And even things like, the centuries where you do 10 reps, 1 plate for 10, 2, you rest a minute, 2 plates for 20, 3 for 30, 4 for 40, 5 for 50 reps, 6 for 70. I never got past 7 plates aside for 70 reps. I never ever got to 10 plates for 100 reps. I mean, if any of you guys have ever done that and your depth was, reasonable, not 2-inch reps, I bow down to you. Let's get to this. Let's get to some of your comments and questions and good stuff like that. Where's Ron Platts? Thank you. Yeah, because I can actually show you questions on here now, guys. 30 reps do work. Yeah, legs seem to respond very well to higher reps. When I say higher, I don't mean like 100, 200 pounds. Yeah, 4 times 25 on leg day is always the goal. I don't want to extend my boundaries here with what I'm really, where I should speak on things because I don't have a physiology degree or anything like that. But I do know that the legs have more slow twitch fibers than the muscles of the upper body because they're meant for walking and endurance type things. So typically that's why we do higher reps for legs. They respond higher. And because, I do have a genetic gift for legs, they responded very well. So when you're in that position, people will always come to you for leg training advice, which sometimes not the greatest idea. A lot of times, like the guy with the biggest arms in your gym, he might not know how he got those arms. Everything he did works. But I did work very hard. But I did have the advice to a lot of guys. I would ask them, what kind of rep ranges are you working in? And a lot of them would tell me, oh, I do like, 4 or 5 reps for squats and leg presses. Maybe I'll go to 8. I said, why don't you try 10 to 15 on squats, 15 to 20 sets on leg press, 15 to 20 sets on hack squats. Almost every single one of them came back to me later and said, wow, that one change, just upping my rep range, made a huge difference. My legs started growing again, where they hadn't seen any growth in a very, very long time. Ron Platt, Stacey Gray. Yeah, this is cool. Like, we can show you. Tiger. Well, Tiger is a very handsome man, very dapper, very well dressed. I always love seeing him at shows. He's got these custom made suits there, and he reminds me of like a James Bond type. But he does the MD Global Muscle Show, guys. If you haven't seen that, we do MD Power Hour together. But he has an amazing show every Wednesday morning here at 9:15. We premiere it, called MD Global Muscle. And the episode that was premiered, today's Friday, right? Yeah. The episode that premiered on Wednesday was, I can't remember the guest right now. I'm thinking about leg training too much. Anyway, Stacy also says
John Jewett and Francisco Barrios.
There you go. It was Francis. Thank you. See, I need people with memories. John Jewett, who is doing the Legion Sports next week as open, and we have footage of him posing at this new size. It's great. Check it out. And Francisco Barrios Vic from Argentina, now living in Brazil. Very much improved young guy that Giles and I have both seen improve over the past. We met him when he was like 21 years old, just starting out competing as a middleweight. And he's put on a good 20 to 30 pounds of muscle since then. Can you grow legs with lower weights, high reps? So the science does say, I did look into this. There are 3 requirements. It turns out there's a lot of ways to make muscle growth. And as I pointed out, as Jim Sapani pointed out in his article, there's not a lot of science. There's not a lot of research behind muscle growth, because the medical community, the scientific, what do they care about muscle growth? It's not something that affects our health or anything like that. But they did find that high reps and low reps seem to work well if the overall volume is equal. But that means if you're going to do 5 sets of 10 reps, that would be 50 reps. If you're doing a 1 rep set, you'd have to do 50 sets. That's my math for today. But they found that the volume needs to be similar. You still have to train close to failure. I don't think the research shows you have to go all the way to failure, although most of us do find we get better results when we push all the way to momentary muscular failure. And 3, the weight needs to be at least 30% of your 1 rep maximum. And if you've never done a 1 rep max, I guess how are you going to know what your 1 rep maximum is? So very lightweight for very high reps, no. So like body weight squats, you could do all day. That's just your body weight. Just stand in place and squat. You're not going to get big legs ever doing that. Kind of similar with push-ups. You can do push-ups with your body weight. Some guys can do hundreds and hundreds of reps. They're never going to have a chest out to here. They'll get some, of course, they're going to get a little development. But when you see guys with big, thick chests like Bertil Fox or who's else got go? Some guys with big chests. It's heavy weights, heavy resistance. So super lightweight doesn't do that. Reptime Fitness says 100. That's a form of agreement. Jen said, at Ron Harris Muscle. Thank you, Jen. That's my Instagram. Go to that for all my corny throwback pictures where I reminisce about the old days. I have modern pictures now. I have kids, dogs, all that stuff. Sub-Zero. Heard you say this decades ago. I've been following it ever since. 4 times 25 on leg day is always a goal. Yeah, and you know what? Certain things like German volume training, if you ever try that, 10 sets of 10 on one exercise like the squat with the weight that's not very challenging at first. So I used to do that with 225. Because back in the day, 225 was so light for me. And the first set, I was like, oh, I should have gone heavier. Second set, yeah, I should have gone heavier than 225. Only resting, 2-3 minutes at the most between sets. By the time I got to say the 7th set, oh my goodness, I was like, this is plenty. This 225 is plenty. 10th set, very, very difficult. I'm sure I was after every rep, I was pausing at the top, like go down for another rep. German volume training, FST7 training works very well, which is 7 sets with the same weight for 10 reps in general, just a general figure. Very little rest, no more than 30 seconds between sets. These things work very, very well. Those are especially effective if you can't go heavy for whatever reason. Maybe you're babying an injury or something like that. Next one, thoughts on Muscle Sport Mag? Joe and I actually, I don't follow it. I have nothing against the guy. He was attacking me a couple of years ago. He came up to me at the last time the Olympia was in Orlando. So that was like 2 years ago now. Yeah, we talked for a minute. We're fine. I just, I don't follow the magazine or the YouTube. I don't follow, people ask me, what do you think about Palumbo's? I don't watch a lot of the videos. If you have all day to watch these videos, my God, that takes up your whole day. It's a lot of there's so much content out there. If I was going to sit there and watch everything Nick did, Nick Strength and Power, everything RX did, all the other channels, I would never get anything done, and I have to get stuff done. I'm not like unemployed. But I didn't dodge the question, right? So yeah, nothing against it. Type 1 for red pandas. What the hell's a red panda? Can you grow legs with lower weights, higher reps? I answered that. Okay. Hello. What's it say?
It's a panda that's red, Ron.
What is it?
It's a panda that's red.
Oh, but why would you type one? Is there are they going extinct or something?
They're endangered, yes.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. I hate seeing all these. My son is actually a wildlife conservation major. He got his degree. So he's very much in tune with trying to keep animals from going extinct and active in some of those groups online and stuff. So I'm all for that, of course. So what age did I get on gear? I was 27 years old, 27. I'm 54 now. And to be fully transparent, I started gear at the very end, November 1996. I had turned 27 on September 1996. Yeah, my math is fine. So I stayed on gear. I would do 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off, and I did that all the way through 1997. 1998, no gear. I was 28 years old, turned 29 toward the end of that year. 1999, didn't go on gear again until I think it was late July or early August. A guy I worked for had a bunch of gear he was going to give me for free. I was doing a lot of work for Ironman magazine at the time. I knew I could get photo shoot with them. I ended up doing 2 photo shoots for Ironman. So it's the only time in my life I ever dieted, and it wasn't for competition. It was just for photo shoots and videos. So that was my 30th birthday. I said, I'll get in great shape for my 30th birthday. I'll do all this stuff. So I did a photo shoot in studio with Mike Nevue for Ironman. I did one in the Gold's Gym Venice with Jerry Frederick. He used to do just natural lighting. Jerry was actually a photographer for Life magazine. I don't even know if he's still with us, but Jerry was a cool guy, very soft-spoken, did great work with just natural lighting. He would follow you around the workout. It wasn't staged. The weights were always real. He didn't tell you to stop, don't do that. He was just a fly on the wall. Great stuff. And I did commercials for Valio weight gloves. And we shot that at Milos's gym. Milos owned a gym at the time. It's called Coliseum, with a K. It was in Fullerton, California. It had previously been a Gold's, where guys like Sean Rain, Troy Zucolato trained. Iris, a very young Iris Kyle, trained there before anybody knew who she was. I remember seeing her there. And it was a really cool gym. But yeah, I'm sure I got off track. So anyway, since that point, it's been on and off gear. I used to cycle on and off. A couple of years ago, I just stopped doing that. And then it was just cruise and blast. And now I'm always on just a moderate amount, which whatever. I'm sure someone's going to ask about that. Okay, let's come on down the line. Ways I get on gear. What's this one say? I'm a marine biologist. Helps when I go on dates by the ocean. Yeah, it's funny. My son was a marine biology major for 1 semester at the University of Maine, Orono, and I'm not sure what made him decide. Nah, I don't like this major. He switched to wildlife conservation at that point. I might be getting the name of the major a little bit wrong, but it's. I know it's not that different. I'm a teenager from Egypt. This is Alba Nasawi Beast. I want to compete in bodybuilding competition, but I don't know how. Please, can you give me any details? It's a lot. I would need to talk to you like all day. So that's why we have coaches. It's not like somebody can give you like 2 minutes of tips on what you need to do to compete. It's a long process of dieting. Gear is involved. That's another whole thing you need to be educated on. You need to know when to eat, what to eat, cardio, all that stuff, how to pose. That's why people hire contest coaches. It's not something I could just quickly put in a response here. And I apologize, but it is a lot more involved. Did I miss any questions? I don't think so. Yeah, let's see. What else do I have notes on there I want to talk about from the leg training? Very high rep lactic acid. Yeah. So as far as like leg training with the super low reps, my main issues with it are that I just feel like it's a lot of strain on your joints. I don't see any reason to go lower than 5 reps ever, personally. That's still very, very heavy weight that limits you to 5 reps. There's always been this argument that, well, if you train purely for strength at times, that strength will carry over into the higher rep ranges. I'm not really sure about that. I do believe in a mix of reps, but I don't think you ever need to go lower than 5. So maybe some sets are going to be five reps. I mean, you don't have to do them all in the same workout. Other sets, 8 to 12. Other sets, 12 to 15, 15 to 20. Every once in a while, maybe it's a drop set or just the same weight, 50 reps. It sounds crazy, but it's always trying to give the muscle a different type of stimulus. Particularly the longer you've been training, the more you need to really mix things up. In the first couple of years of training, you could do like the same rep range pretty much all the time. Training is still a fairly new stimulus to your body at that stage. So you're not going to really need to mix things up. Your body's going to keep responding. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's why, especially for beginners, I say keep it simple. Do not overcomplicate things. That time is going to come, but don't worry about that now. Just stick with basic movements. 10 to 12 reps, 8 to 12 reps for the upper body. I would go 10 to 20 for the lower body. Eat as much quality food as you can, get plenty of sleep. That's it. It doesn't need to be that complicated. Okay, let's see. Do we have any more questions since then? No. Oh, okay, let's see. Okay, so CH, it was funny when you said Big Rob Fitness type to shoot up a Christmas parade. Did I say that? I don't know. I don't even. If I said that, I don't even remember it. I say a lot of things. Cody Jolly, high rep squats are my go-to run. It hurts, but makes you a beast without getting injured. Yeah. I believe you could do 15 to 20 reps on squats all the time. You would grow. You probably would grow maybe a little more if you threw in some heavier sets here and there. 20 reps is a lot. If you've never squatted for 20 reps, like those of you who are good squatters and you handle maybe like 405 for 8 to 10 reps, try doing 315 for 20. I remember one time I said, I'm going to do 315 for 3 sets of 20 today. Did the first set of 315 for 20. It was tough, but I was like, okay, this is not a big deal. Second set, very hard to get 315 to the point where I was gasping. And by the third one, I said, you know what? I think 2 is good. What a baby. So what's that say? I rip squats my go-to. Let's see. The next one is from Miloš Gorowski. Miloš. I'm going to guess Poland. Miloš, is that correct? That's a crazy guess. I mean, we know Miloš is it was called Serbia. Oh, no, it's Serbia now. It used to be Yugoslavia when he was a younger man. Now it's Serbia and Croatia, 2 different countries. So anyway, hey, Ron, people made fun of me for not locking out on chest presses. I've always kept tension on chest that's bigger than ever. What are your thoughts on it? I think for some people, locking out will take the stress off. I was able to, when we're talking about locking out, we're talking about locking out the elbow joints where there's just, for a lot of people, that's going to take the tension off the pecs. So a lot of people will keep the rep just shy of lockout, where you're almost locked out. I don't really think about the way the joints are lined up. I'm thinking about the muscle getting fully contracted. So when I do chest, I want that chest to squeeze completely together, full contraction. To me, it's always about contractions and stretches. And if you're not feeling your chest contract, I don't care what the form looks like to an outside observer, it's not going to grow. This is, to me, what separates bodybuilders from the other 95% of schmucks, average Joes who just work out and lift weights. They're pushing weight, they're pulling weight, they're moving a weight from A to B, but they're not engaging the muscle. I like to think of squeeze. If you think squeeze and stretch with every rep of everything you do, with the exception of something like squats and deadlifts, you really can't because of the mechanics of those movements. But let's say a curl. Squeeze the bicep, stretch the bicep. Squeeze, full contraction, lower it, control for a full stretch. Always get a very controlled negative. Your negative should always be slower. So something like a curl, it's okay to come up fast. There's actually research on curls showing you get better growth with a faster concentric or the positive part of the movement. But you always want to lower slowly than the eccentric. The negative should be slower. And there have actually been people in the past that experimented. I remember Mike Menser, Casey Vader, they experimented with negative only training, which was somebody would lift the weight, or 2 guys in the case, so like a super heavy bench. They would put 500 pounds on the bench and a spotter would be on each side. They did all the lifting, and then Mike or Casey would just lower the weight for, 6 reps. because there's tons of research that the lowering of the weight, that stretch, is actually more important, probably for chemical reasons like we were talking about earlier that I'm not qualified to speak on, signaling, stimulating muscle growth. What else we got? Cody Jolly. What happened to Cody Jolly? Oh, there we go. Thanks for all the good info. You got tips for calves? Of course. So the first secret to success for huge calves is to be born with low muscle insertions. So I hope you guys understand every muscle, every skeletal muscle on our body has an origin and an insertion. So biceps, again, easiest example. The biceps originate over here under this front delt, and they insert at somewhere between there and your elbow. I say somewhere between because some people have very long biceps. Other people have very short biceps. People with long biceps have more muscle cells. They have greater potential for a bigger muscle because there's just more muscle there. If it's way up high, you don't have anything. It's going to be a muscle up to, say, halfway, and then the rest is just a tendon. You can't make your tendons grow. So if you have high calf insertions and just a tendon forming most of the space there, you're really never going to have huge calves. Then you see somebody like a Flex Lewis or the late Mike Matarazzo are really good examples. Even Tom Platz or Paul DeMeo, Dorian Yates, all these people had very low muscle insertions for their calves, meaning you've probably seen guys walking around dad bods at the grocery store, Walmart, Costco, post office, wherever. Huge calves. And it's obvious these people have never been in a gym or touched a weight in their lives, most likely. They just have these super low insertions. And if they're obese, just carrying all that weight around is going to be enough stimulation to have these monstrous calves. Meanwhile, you're sitting here banging your head against the wall, going crazy on calves. All right, I had to get that out of the way first because I don't like people that have false expectations for what they're possible. I don't want to kill your dreams, but I don't want to tell you you're going to get these massive calves if you have high insertions. You're never going to have massive calves. That being said, everybody can grow what the muscle that they do have to a point. So my best tips for calves, I would do lower and higher reps. Lower for me for calves means sets of like 8 to 10 at the heaviest and as high as 50 at the high end. I do them all. For seated, and you need to do seated because that's the only way to work when the knee is completely bent, the leg is completely bent, sorry. That's the only way to engage that soleus muscle. It's underneath. You can't really see the soleus. It's underneath the gastrocnemius, that big diamond-shaped muscle that we see on the outside. That's worked with the leg locked out. So any kind of standing calf raise, a calf raise on the leg press, your gym might have one of those things that kind of looks like a little hack squat, like a linear hack squat where you're rising up on your toes on that. So my best tips are the high rep range, and the form is very, very important. Full range of motion. I see so many guys doing these little bouncy reps. That's not going to make your calves grow. They need a full range of motion. So if this is the platform, if you're doing a standing calf raise, you want to go all the way up on your tiptoes. Then you want to go all the way until your heel is below the level of that platform. So full contraction, full stretch. And I would go, you can go fast on that, but then pause and flex and then slowly lower into full stretch. I also advocate stretching the calves after. I do believe in the theory of muscle fascia being a limiting factor in muscle growth. So muscle fascia it's a connective tissue. It surrounds all our skeletal muscles. At the molecular level is stronger than steel. And people like John Perillo, people like Dante from DC Training, it's a very big part of their philosophy is this aggressive fascial stretching to help break up the fascia and theoretically allow for more muscle growth. I hear Branch. Branch, what are you doing? Can you come on over? Can you come up? Everyone loves you, Branch. Come here. Branch. Up,
Hi,
up.
Branch.
It's Branch. Look at him. He's adorable. I was walking this dog when I tore my quad, but I don't blame him. It's not his fault. Jen actually sprained her ankle tripping over her dog. So guys, just be careful around your dog. Branch, you see yourself? No? I don't think he quite grasped it. He saw himself in the mirror for the first time last week.
Oh, what a handsome fella.
I'm still trying to figure out if he knew what he was looking at. Okay, Branch, I think that's enough of your slobber, but thank you. Thank you, Bubbles. Probably has to go to the bathroom. Yeah, it's a rainy day. He doesn't get any walks from me for a while, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Branch.
Aw.
Yeah. And people ask me, how did you tear your quad walking your dog? That's ridiculous. because, you did all these crazy things in the gym. You had those massive legs and you never tore your quad then. So what I say is slipping and falling is not as dangerous as slipping and catching yourself before you fall. Because every time I did that, and I'd say over the past 3 winters, because I was his chief walker, because I work at home, and, it's not like I didn't have the time to walk him. So many times, especially in the winter, the sidewalk would be icy and I would fall. And I always caught myself with the right leg bending right on that right knee. And a lot of times I'd feel a sharp pain there. So that was the tendon probably getting damaged more and more and more. And then August 30th, that was it. Just came right off. Yeah, he's shaking his legs, shaking his feet. What else we got? This is a new program that I fought because I don't like change and I'm a technophobe. It's called StreamYard. I hope you guys are enjoying it. This was Jen discovered this. Apparently a lot of the all the top podcasters use it, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I always fight change. I fought Zoom. I was on Skype. I fought Zoom, didn't want to switch to Zoom, but now,
But then you loved Zoom.
I love Zoom. And now this, eventually I'll love this. It does look pretty cool.
I think you love it now.
Well, the fact that you can put the stuff on the screen, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I got to admit, it has up until then, I just been doing everything right here on my phone on a little tripod for these Ask Runs. This is definitely gives you so many more options. Let's see. Wayne Arenz joining late. What's the definition of high reps? I didn't hear at the start. Is it high reps or high volume? I think you want to do so. High reps I think everyone's got a different idea or a different definition of high reps. For me, high reps would be anything beyond, say, 12, because 8 to 12 is the standard rep range that most people like to work in. That's the standard muscle hypertrophy range. Anything beyond that could be considered high reps. And then you have levels, 12 to 15, 15 to 20, beyond 20. These would be higher and higher reps. But generally speaking, because I remember talking with Dorian Yates, because I worked with him on his column they did for MD for years. And he was very dogmatic about 6 to 8 reps. He never wanted to do more than 10 reps on anything. To him, that was like useless. It's not enough weight. And I tried to argue, but, it's hard to argue with somebody who's a 6-time Olympian who got such fantastic results. And he said, he's trained many people himself, claims that they've all got great results with that rep range. So, but for me, I can't imagine. I don't think I personally, or most people I know, would have built the best legs, the biggest legs that they could have built using only 6 to 8 reps. I do believe the legs, you have to go higher. You can do 6 to 8 rep sets, but you have to do some higher rep sets if you want to see the full potential of your legs. And I don't think any of us want to look back and say, maybe if I had tried this or that. That's why I encourage people to try all different types of training, different exercises, different splits, techniques, rep ranges. If you don't give them a chance, you'll never know if they could have worked for you. And, we don't have a lot of time. As you get older, you realize you don't have a lot of time to build all the muscle you can build. If you start training in your teens, you're probably going to be building all the muscle you're ever going to build, or at least very close to it by the time you're 30. You'll still be able to build after that to a point, but it's not like you're going to keep growing forever. It's not humanly possible. Else we'd have guys looking like, the CGI Hulk walking around, and we don't. So I hope I answered that question. Yeah, you're thinking about Dorian. Yeah. Dorian, that clears up a lot. Thanks, Ron. You're welcome. Yeah. So yeah. So when I share this, and people won't watch the video, when I share it on social media like Facebook and stuff, people in the comments won't watch the video, and they're just going to see the title and they're going to get very, very upset and start arguing with me. And that's okay. I'm ready for it. But research shows you have to do a mix of reps. Yes, low reps are effective, but you can't do it. I don't believe anybody is going to build huge quads like a Tom Platz. Obviously, there's a genetic component and gear and everything, but nobody's ever going to build the biggest legs they're possible of if they only do one rep range. And I believe particularly the low rep range, because we have power lifters, guys who squat anywhere from 700 to 12. What's the world record's like 1,300 pounds for squat now? It's ridiculous. Is it more than that?
I'll look it up. Give me a sec.
Oh, Jen's gonna look it up. It's crazy. But generally speaking, all the guys that we follow in bodybuilding with huge legs have much bigger legs than these guys who can squat 1,000 pounds or more. That Hatfield was a great example because he held the world record. And if you see pictures of him, his quads, they were nothing special. They certainly would have been considered subpar on a bodybuilding stage. Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a second, Wayne. In fact, a good example of that is in a thumbnail I did for, not a thumbnail, I did a post on my Instagram yesterday. It was 2 days ago. It started this whole discussion. And I was it was me on stage because I found some old DVDs of the show I did in 2005 and, blurry, horrible quality. But it showed me standing next to a guy named Billy Mimnaugh, who was a amazing power lifter. National titles. He was a few years older than me. I was 35 of that show. He was 39. This is a guy who I think he'd squatted at least 800, maybe even 900 pounds in a competition. And he'd had injuries and stuff, but still my legs were at least twice the size of his. And I never spoke to the man, and I certainly didn't mean to disparage him in any way. Like, haha, look at me and look at him. It wasn't like that. The point I wasn't even trying to make a point. I just liked the picture, and I didn't want to zoom in too much on me, just show me, because the quality was so crappy and blurry that if I did that, it would just be like laughably bad photo. It's pretty bad as it is. So that's a guy that was way stronger, and I strongly suspect he trained primarily in the low rep range, and it didn't really build much leg mass. He didn't have legs that would be considered impressive by any standards in bodybuilding. Again, not disparaging him. This guy was probably stronger at 16 than I was, at 30, 35, loaded out of my skull on gear. All right, let's get back to the
Hey,
question.
Ron, real
Yeah.
quick. Okay, so I'm looking at the list of the all-time powerlifters. There are several classes, but the biggest one, top 5 across all weight classes, Julius Maddox at 355 kilograms, which is 782 pounds in 2021.
Oh, wait a minute. He only squatted 785?
785, yeah.
No, that can't be a world record.
I'm looking right at it. 782 at 2021, Julius Maddox.
So that's what they call that's the unequipped, where they don't wear a squat suit, they don't have a belt. Yeah, that's raw powerlifting. So that's another whole debate. Powerlifters have this there's two camps of powerlifters. There's raw and equipped. The raw guys, like Julius Maddox, he's with MHP. We had an article about him in MD a year or two ago. I interviewed we had a run line.
Okay, here's equipped. Top 5 across all weight classes. Nathan Baptiste, 595 kilograms, which equates to 1,311 pounds.
So over
2021.
Over 1,311 pound squat. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's more than half a ton, guys. Wow, that's insane. So a lot of these guys, they're big dudes, but when they squat, their bar, they don't squat like bodybuilders. They squat with the bar halfway down their back, and they're bent forward. They're using a lot of glutes, a lot of lower back. Bodybuilders like Tom Platz, especially, this is how I always squat. High bar squats. It's right across the top of your traps. It's not halfway down your traps. It's not a low bar. And you try to keep your torso as close to fully upright as possible. Whereas champion powerlifters, there's a lot of forward bend when they squat, because that's where you generate the most, I don't know physics. What's the word for it? Not momentum. It's just you have a wider base. It's your stronger position. Let's go back to Wayne. Didn't Branch Warren slip and tear his quad off the pavement by naming your dog Branch? Were you tempting fate, or was I sealing my fate? It's true. Branch Warren, one of the most legendary. I forgot to even mention Branch is one of the guys with the greatest legs. Sorry about that, Branch. Branch definitely deserves to be in that Hall of Fame for best quads for sure. Yes, so Branch did these crazy feats of strength. He was a very strong guy. I trained legs with Branch, and I can honestly say I've trained legs with probably 8 or 10 pros over the years, and he was the only one I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit the workout. I just want to say, I wanted to stop and say, you can finish the workout. I'm good, Branch. I'm all set. It was like 10 o'clock at night for one thing. I'm not going to list all the stupid excuses I have. But yes, but Branch did not hurt. He tore his quad, and he was not lifting. He wasn't in the gym. He was coming out of a restaurant, and I think he was walking down a little sloped part of the pavement, and it was raining, and he slipped. Same thing. I slipped on wet pavement. But yeah, now that you mention it, Wayne, perhaps I was tempting fate. But when we got him, we rescued Branch, because, you got to be snooty, and you can't just say you got a dog. You have to make sure you let people know you rescued it, because he was a shelter dog, him and his sister. Yeah, we couldn't figure out which one we liked better. The sister was darker and had brindle, the stripes. But anyway, Yeah, we came down to a choice between Branch and Dexter. Dexter. We like both names. Dexter, we like for Dexter Jackson, but also my wife and I used to love that show on Showtime, Dexter, with about the serial killer who only killed bad guys. So, but we're also, Branch. We like Branch. Janet doesn't think many bodybuilders are like, oh boy, but she likes Branch, she likes Dorian, and she likes Flex Lewis. Those are her like top three. She likes that rugged look. Yeah, with that big jaw. Anyway,
good choices.
Good choices. Yeah, you can't go wrong. But where the hell was I going with that? I can't remember. But I should probably mention the Branch workout because I've said it before, but Branch, not only was he super strong, and this was after we had been to not one, but 2 store appearances. We went into one in a place called Everett, American Nutrition Center, way up north of Boston. Everybody knows Steve Cardillo with his Cardillo weight belts. That's his home base of operations. You go in there, he's got like belts because he would make duplicates. Belts that he's made for like Hulk Hogan, Shaq, like all the great Bruins, Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots. This guy makes like custom belts. Jose Raymond has, at one time, he had a collection of about 100 belts. Steve used to make like a new belt for him every week. I remember seeing it. I don't know if he still has all his belts, but he showed me the stack of belts that he had from Steve one time. It's funny. Someone stole one time from him. And I'm like, why would you steal a belt that said Jose Raymond, the Boston Mass? Clearly, if somebody sees you walking around with that belt, they're going to know you stole it, dumbass. But anyway, the Branch workout was impressive to me. It was tough for me because it was just nonstop. He barely rests between sets. We talk about resting, like Mark Lobliner just put up on Tiger Fitness, just put up a post saying, studies have shown the optimum rest between sets is 3 minutes. Well, he was training with me, so it probably was still about 2 minutes, but it certainly wasn't more than that. It was, you do your set. As soon as the other guy's done, you jump right in there and do your set. Bam, bam, bam. It was like, and to do that for legs, and my gym, the AC was out. It was July. Oh my God. It was horrible. It's just very little rest. We did leg presses. We did squats, leg presses, leg extensions. He was doing drop sets. So the sets would be like 50 reps for every set of leg extensions. Yeah, and hack squats. It was just brutal, brutal, brutal. I mean, I felt like puking my guts out. I'd ordered this potato chip fried chicken at the restaurant we ate at before, which is a horrible, horrible choice. Funny story, he had a room. We were both with Gaspari. He was a Gaspari athlete at the time, and I was under contract to Gaspari as well. This was 2014, I think it was. Yeah. So he had a hotel because we had done the appearances in Everett, and then we did another store appearance in a place called Cape Cod Nutrition in Easton, which is it's only like a 10-minute drive down the street from where I live. And I of course sees the opportunity. Branch always has to train. If he's on the road, doesn't matter. He always has to get his workouts in. So of course I'm like, you got to go to my gym and train. And he's like, okay. I'm like, yes, I got to bring Branch Warren to my gym. Anyway, he had a room. They had a room set up for him in Rhode Island because we were supposed to continue on to 2 more appearances in Connecticut the next day, which is a good 2 to 3 hour drive from where I am in Massachusetts. I'm on the South Shore. And he was just beat because at this point, we had to find a place to eat after that workout. By the time we got done with all that, it's like midnight. He did not feel like, and I would have had to go with him because I was supposed to be, I was helping him with the store appearances. Didn't want to do it. He ended up sleeping at my house that night because if we could not find a hotel, it was like, so I guess it must have been June, not July. It was like graduations, college and high school graduations. The hotels were all booked up. Every hotel we were calling, no room, no room, no room. So Branch slept at my house for one night and ate this monstrous breakfast. Let me tell you, that guy can eat. That guy can eat. We went to a sushi place in Connecticut the next day, and I've never seen somebody eat so much sushi. You guys might have, but it was crazy. I was like,
He
"Is that
looks
all
it.
for you?" Yeah. In fact, we did. Oh no, the appearance. Okay, I got it wrong. I think he was in Massachusetts for 2 days. Yeah, he was there 2 days because one day he had sushi, and they brought him. Somebody brought him, the store owner, the guy that owned that Cape Cod Nutrition was in Plymouth down toward the Cape. He brought some takeout sushi for us. And Branch looked at it when they took it out and put it out. And he looked at it and he looked at me. I'm like, never mind. Because we were going to share it. And once he saw it, I could tell he wanted it all for himself because it wasn't going to be enough. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm good. Because we're in like a mall, a little strip. It was like a little outdoor mall. I went to a Red Robin, had a burger. He needed all that food. Let's see. What else did I miss? Was rep range for legs back in prime. Okay, so that guy 6, who's a very frequent contribute to these live chats. What was your rep range for legs back in your prime? So I always did a wide range. I would go as low as like 5 or 6 rep sets. I don't think I ever went on. I just wouldn't go under 5. The only time I went under 5 was the first year on gear. In that thumbnail where you see me in all this pink spandex looking like a tool, that's when I was really pushing my limits. I was 27, 28 years old. First year or two on gear, the first year, I would get stronger and stronger every week, and I was getting stupider and stupider every week. I was like, well, I did 4 plates last week. I'll do 5 plates this week. I did 5 plates last week. I'll do 6 plates this week. Yeah. Not trying to jump up like 5 pounds a week. I was trying to jump up like, anyway, you get the point. So, but for the most part, most of my career in training, I did I would say 10 to 20 reps somewhere. That was, most of my squats were like 10 reps. For me, I would go higher on things where my back was supported and I didn't have to balance anything. Because I find with squats, your technique does start to break down once you get into once you do like 20 rep sets, you'll see what I'm saying. You're getting winded. There's a big lactic acid burn. It's just a struggle to keep the muscular endurance and your cardiovascular endurance going, because you're breathing like you've never had oxygen in your life by the time you're on that 19th or 20th rep. Let's see. Wayne again. Tom Platt's probably the best example of massive volume, massive high reps for the best legs ever. Yeah. I was reading that a lot of times for extensions, leg extensions, leg curls, he would do 60 reps. That's a lot of reps. 60 reps is probably the whole stack, I'm guessing too. So Wayne also correct. Julius Max has squatted higher than 900 pounds raw, I believe. Yeah, that's a problem with when you look things up on the internet. You might be seeing a post from like 5 years ago or something, and you don't know. So Sai, and then some characters. What does that look like to you? Is that Sanskrit? Is that India? I have no idea. I know what Arabic looks like. I don't know if that's, anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Wherever you are.
Thai. Yeah.
Oh, Thai. Okay. I mean, it's a big world we live in. You are talking about masses, Ron. You're right about your point. But if someone discredit your point, compares to genetic freaks, that's pointless. Oh yeah. I mean, if someone's got awesome genetics, everything works. That's what a lot of these YouTubers make videos about, like the ego lifting and Sam Solik and guys like that. If you have great genetics, and especially if you have great genetics and you're on gear, pretty much any kind of training works. Anything. In fact, somebody sent me an Instagram reel. Was late Mike Mentzer talking about, somebody can be a hard gainer and not make any gains because they never trained properly, like they never tried his style of training, and they could have been Mr. Olympia if they'd only done it right, which is complete BS. I'm sorry. I'm no disrespect to Mike. I have utmost respect for him, man. He was a legend in bodybuilding and a great writer, way ahead of his time in many ways. But if someone has the genetics to be a Mr. Olympia, any type of weight training is going to elicit pretty damn good results. I've seen people that had no idea. Their form was absolute shit. They barely ate. They still looked better than almost everybody else in the gym. And if those people, once they start getting a little more disciplined, eating consistently, eating good food, training harder, good form, resting, throw some gear in there, these are the people that you see on the Olympia stage or on a classic stage. So yeah, I hope I was addressing the right point there. Probably not. James Gary from Bayshore Athletic Club. Handsome Pete and Cardillo. Yeah, I didn't give credit to the other guy that runs the store, American Nutrition Center, Pete Morrell. Handsome Pete, they call him. Wayne Arendt says, sorry, Jen. It was Ray Orlando Williams, not Julius Max, 1,000 pounds face drug tested. Oh, so that was drug tested. I mean, when they say drug tested, I always take that with a grain of salt because I know there's ways to beat tests. I'm not saying he did. I just know in general, when I hear drug tested, I don't automatically assume that the person was actually drug free. Monster in a good way indeed, says Sayu. Jen said there were 2 classes. So Jen's pointing out 2 classes equipped in raw, highest raw knows for equipped one. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to know the maximum amount a human being has, because I know they bench over 1,000 pounds now, which is crazy. That's insane.
There's a whole lot of classes. It's almost like bodybuilding.
Yeah. So Mark, what's your max squat? And the reason I don't have an answer, that's Flex Wheeler, a great shot, Flex Wheeler in his avatar. The reason I don't have a good answer for that is because when I was trying to max out on squats, I can't take credit for any of the weights. The most weight I ever put on a bar and squatted was 765. Did I really squat that weight? I don't know. I always had somebody behind me with, hugging me, basically like they would have got me pregnant if this was a different circumstance. That's how close they were to me. Someone's always behind me and they boosted me out of the bottom. And I rarely went to parallel when I was going that heavy, like 6-7 plates, which I did many times, but the reps were awful, and I don't take any credit. The maximum I ever squatted with no spotter and got at least parallel was probably 5 plates, 495. I don't think I ever did more than that, which it's good. It's not great. It's not great. You know, Darren Jamick, Jam Rock. Can front squats replace back squats as a main leg exercise? 100% yes. 100% yes. They're superior in some ways. And I say that because a lot of people have a really hard time structurally. It's typically people with longer legs, I've noticed, trying to keep an upright posture as they squat. They can't help it. Their body mechanics force them to really lean forward as they squat. So when you do that, you're taking stress away from the quads. You're putting a lot more on the glutes, the hams, the lower back. They're doing more lifting, which is why you see these elite power lifters. That's how they squat. They're not trying to stand up straight. They're bent forward quite a bit. That's how you get, and their legs are far apart. That's how you get the leverage to really push up a ton of weight from the floor like that. So front squats, ideal for people that have a problem staying upright. They're also they're challenging. People give up on them. I forced myself. I tried them a few times. I gave up, and then I said, you know what? I got to stick with these. I got to do these every leg day for a while until I can get it down. Because you can either do I've seen people do it like this where they're not even gripping it. I always did this. It's very uncomfortable. You can feel like you're being choked because the bar is right there on your throat. It's across your clavicles. But again, and my front squat, I can tell you how much I front squatted because it was only once, and I never did it again, that kind of weight. It was 2005, February 2005. I was at Metroflex Gym, Arlington, training legs with Ronnie Coleman. Yes, this is true. So Ronnie had just gotten back to training. He had taken off from the Olympia, which back in those days was like September, October. He used to take 3 full months off training. And he had only been back in the gym for, I think, 3 weeks when we all came out here for his training camp. And he and I got to train legs with, so there was like 4 groups. There was 30 people in this group. And he had friends helping out. And we broke up into like 4 different groups. I got the group that did legs with Ronnie, and it was not rigged. We pulled numbers out of a hat, exactly like that. Anyway, long story short, Ronnie egged me on. Ronnie spotted me, and I have a really shitty, grainy picture on my Instagram somewhere where I'm front squatting 4 plates, 405, and I got 10 reps. It wasn't 10, it was probably 8. Anyway, he wasn't touching me, but he was yelling. I had, at that time, 7-time Mr. Olympia. A few months later, he would go on to win his 8th and final Olympia. But with Ronnie Coleman, I was not gonna quit. So 405 for 8 was the best front squat I ever did. And I did a lot more back squatting because structurally I'm built pretty well for squatting. I have a longer torso, shorter legs. Squats were always I used to squat way below parallel, and squats were like a very natural movement for me, where some people, they never quite can get it down. I hope I answered your question. Ben says, can't speak for anyone else, but when I did only powerlift or low rep squat deadlifts, I always had skinny legs. I made more gains after from cycling and aerobic stuff, believe it or not. No, I do believe that. In fact, some of the best calves I've ever seen have been on cyclists, people that ride their bikes for 50 miles a day, spinning teachers. I remember this gym in town here. It's closed now, but there was an older guy, who was a spinning instructor. Upper body was nothing special, but his legs, and particularly his calves, clearly he had low insertions, but this guy had calves most of you would be envious of. And I never saw him work out. He was a personal trainer, but I never saw him lift weights. His upper body was, you wouldn't recognize him as he didn't look nothing like a bodybuilder. With these calves on him were something else. Next one. Gambone Law, even if you're on gear, would you agree you still need to train 2-3 reps shy of failure to gain muscle along with calorie surplus? I always went to failure and beyond. I know the research says you don't need to go to failure. I never knew. I mean, how would you know? For me, it just didn't feel right. I just always wanted to go to failure. Maybe I would have made better progress. Maybe if I hadn't gone all the way to failure. There's a lot of others, anecdotally, guys like Dorian and Ronnie, they always went to failure, and they would always preach that's the best way to do it. That's how you get the most amount of muscle growth. Guys like Coach Greg Doucette say you have to train harder than last time. You have to go to failure. But yeah, 2-3 reps. I do believe in calorie. As far as calorie surplus, you absolutely have to be in a caloric surplus to grow. You have to. It's like it's calories in, calories out. I do believe that. If you're trying to gain muscle mass and you're not giving your body the building blocks it needs, the protein, the carbs, the healthy fats, it doesn't have the raw materials. It's like trying to build a house and you don't have enough cement, bricks, wood, whatever. You don't have the materials. You don't have enough. So yes, you have to be in a caloric surplus. Who do I think has the best legs in bodybuilding right now? I'm probably going to miss a few people. There's a lot of great legs in bodybuilding right now. I would go with Hassan Mustafa. I like his legs even better than Rami's. They have better separation. Rami's got some amazing legs. Just looking at the Olympia lineup from last year. Hadi's got really good legs. Derek Lunsford's got some great legs right now. Nick, they're good. They're just not spectacular. Krizo, no. Hunter, no. Samson, no. They all have good legs. I'm just trying to find the best. Yeah, and for 212, Clarita's got some pretty damn good legs. Ashkenani, no. Ola Curvy does. Kareth Bajo's got some good legs. Yeah, but those are the ones that stand out. If you have your picks, put them in the chat. I'll probably look. Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. And the Chinese gentleman in the thumbnail, Lian Yang, great legs. Let's see. Saying out loud. Yeah, I try my best. Sai. I hope I'm not murdering it. I don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah, Mark, I could have done more than 500, but my goal was never strength. I liked being strong, but it was never like I was never the strongest guy in the gym, and I never aspired to be a power lifter or to set any records. To me, I wanted to get stronger. There was definitely some ego involved. I won't lie, especially when I was in my 20s, even into my 30s for sure. But I was always trying to be bigger. I would be more proud of having these freakish giant legs and only squatting 405 than to say I squatted 700 and having legs that were half that size. To me, it was a vanity thing. It was cosmetic. It was more show than go. I didn't really care because I knew that physique was something that I walked around with everywhere I went, but people only saw what you could lift in the gym. We didn't have Instagram or YouTube or TikTok. The only people who ever saw how much weight you lifted back in those days were the people at your gym who trained when you were at the gym at the same time as you. That was it. So yeah, if I trained for pure strength, I probably could have done more, but I don't think I would have ever been at that elite level anyway. So, and I probably would have had even more injuries. So who knows? Some gym, what's that say? Show big legs different than more 500. Some gyms in India, I don't know what they say. It's a cheat to bend even for tall people and squat. Oh, they're talking about the torso. Mark, I assume Coleman also came off gear for 3 months along with training. Oh yeah, the opposite of today's year-long cycle. Yeah, Ronnie. So when I saw him there, I think he had been. I don't even know if he was back on gear yet. Maybe he was. I don't know. He was still a very, very big man. It was just for him. He didn't lose a lot of size when he came off gear. He didn't. He got softer looking. He didn't have that real hard, grainy look that we're familiar with. He was like 300 pounds when we were out there. But yeah, he didn't have a gut or anything. But I'm saying the muscles had a softer look. He definitely had more body fat. I don't think he lost much because it would have taken more time than that. Some people lose size very quickly. Others, someone who's got that much muscle, it would have taken probably at least another 6 months to see a really significant drop. You would be like, wow, Ronnie, what happened? But yeah, I'm very sure he was off gear those 3 months. He let his body because he would train for so that gave him, if he took 3 months off gear, you got 9 months of the year left. If he's going to diet for 16 weeks is 4 months. So he'd have a 5-month off season, 4 months. So I'm sure he was on gear for 9 months out of the year to build as much muscle as he could and then to diet for Olympia. So yeah, in that case, he was very smart. Ronnie's got problems with his nerve issues, back surgeries, but health-wise, as far as like his heart, his liver, his kidneys, I don't think Ronnie's got any problems at all. He says everything checks out, his blood work, and he's fine. Let's see, Wayne again. Lots of bodybuilders here are mad about hack squats. You must be from UK. Mad about, we don't say that here. Crazy about hack squats. Did the old school bodybuilders use hacks? How important hacks to you? Does help with knee pain? I would say I did almost an equal amount of hack squats as I did leg presses. I always loved hack squats. I was pretty strong, depending on the machine, because they're all different. My heaviest sets, I could do anywhere from 5 to 8 plates a side, depending on the machine and the different leverages, because some machines are quote unquote heavier than others. But I always loved hacks. I always did them with my feet very close together, like almost all the way together. And I would go super low, past parallel, which a lot of people would destroy their knees pretty quickly in that style. Like I said, I was structurally, I was built for heavy leg training with no issues in the knees. I didn't have knee problems until very recently. I'm 54 years old, and I started training legs. I was training at 13, 14, but I didn't start training legs till I was 18. So that's a long time to go without any knee pain. It's a cheat to bend. Already said that one. I think we're almost done here. Yeah. James Gary. Someday front squats are great for the vastus intermedius. I don't believe there's any point in training one particular head of the quad, James. No, you're making it too complicated. The quadriceps, they all fire at the same time, all four heads. If you're talking the intermedius is like in the middle somewhere. Generally speaking, most bodybuilders lack development in the sweep, the vastus lateralis. So they can have big legs that are just shaped straight up and down like a tree trunk. But then you have these round, nice sweeping thighs. I do believe there's a lot of genetic component to that. Jay Cutler had these crazy sweeps. Rami's got these crazy sweeps. I was blessed with that shape to the muscle, the vastus lateralis. And in fact, if you have that shape to your quads, they're going to look a lot bigger than they actually measure, whereas someone else might have bigger legs than you by the tape measure, but your legs will appear to be bigger just because, like our arm. If you have a big blob of an arm versus someone who has this awesome jagged peak and a nice drop to their tricep, that's going to look like a bigger arm, even though a tape measure might measure the other guy's arm 2 or 3 inches more. Your arm is going to look bigger. Anyway, it's visual. Bodybuilding is a visual sport. People call it, you've heard probably the phrase bodybuilding is an illusion because it's judged purely on appearance. Someone could be on stage with this awesome shape, tiny waist, tiny joints, round, bubbly, full muscles, and they could look much bigger. And the guy staying next to them might actually outweigh them by 30, 40 pounds. But this guy, you're like, wow, he's huge. Flex Wheeler, when he won the 93 Arnold Classic, which a lot of people consider his best look, he was 216 pounds, 216 compared to, if you look at pictures, Google 1993 Arnold Classic, you'll see he looked freaking damn near perfect versus someone else could be 260 on stage, with the big wide waist and clunky joints and crappy muscle shape and look half the size. It's an illusion. What's this? Oh yeah. Oh, Jen put up a clip. An article, Ron training with Ronnie, Dorian, and Branch. Oh, I did. Yeah, I did ask Ron talking about those 3 workouts because I trained with Ronnie and Branch, and Dorian put me through a workout. James Gary, some say, did Samson Dow, Jonathan Winters? Yeah, okay, Samson. Jonathan Winters has Carlos Thomas Jr. There you go. I knew I was forgetting somebody. I always forget somebody. Carlos Thomas Jr. Yeah, Carlos Thomas Jr. Crazy quads on that guy. Crazy. Definitely should have him in the conversation. He's only done 1 pro show, 2 pro shows now. But yeah. Double M says, best legs bodybuilding, Samson, Mustafa. Well, Mustafa's long gone. Carlos Thomas Jr. Mustafa Muhammad, who's like a normal sized guy now. But yeah, he had some huge thighs. You're pronouncing my name right, Ron? No problem. Sai. Oh, good. I feel like Double M. Rami's legs are full of oil. Dented up quad, 0 calves. Oh, rough. Double M expect to get some hate from the Rami fans out there. James Hollingshead. Yeah, James has, and James, tremendously strong guy.
With pitchforks and torches.
Yeah, you guys, you can't say anything bad about Rami. You're gonna get hunted down. The villagers will burn you at the stake. James Hollingshead. James is one of those guys that I think he appeals to people who. There's a lot of people who only respect bodybuilders with a lot of size if they're also have strength that looks like it matches. Like a lot of guys get upset, like, they see someone big and it's like, he's not even using that much weight. He's not that strong. Well, first of all, it doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't. The judges don't say, number 14, how much you bench press? And give them a mic. They don't do that. They're judging a physique in front of them. If that chest was built pressing 225 or 500, doesn't matter. They are just looking at the development of the physique. And heavy weights don't always build the most muscle because lower reps. But Hollingshead, I see that guy squatting like 6-7 plates for reps. I see him doing hack squats, 10 plates or more for reps. Oh, he's super strong. Let's see myself. We're almost done. Myself. Can I get big legs with calisthenic workout? No, there's not enough. There's just not enough resistance. It's not heavy enough. If you hold some heavy dumbbells or something, now you stand a chance. Like squat holding some dumbbells, but just your body weight, it's not enough resistance to challenge the muscle to force a growth adaptation. Our bodies don't want to grow muscle. It's very metabolically expensive. It takes more calories to keep those muscles there to maintain them. So our bodies just want homeostasis, survive. All your body is programmed to do is survive and reproduce. That's it. That's all. We're animals. We're not supposed to be big, freakishly muscled, because look at all the food it takes. Can you imagine if cavemen, hunter-gatherers from our ancestors, which all our ancestors were hunter-gatherers. Can you imagine if some of them wanted to be a bodybuilder? They would have to lift all kinds of weights. They would have to eat all this food, all this meat and grains and stuff, which back in those days, hunter-gatherers, they had to go long periods sometimes where there was no food. They couldn't find an animal to hunt and kill. Oh, there's Giles. So yeah, man, there's the haters. That's Jen's edit that's from our MD. Oh, that's from our Power Hour. We did the preview of the Cheroux Classic France Pro. Let's see, did I already do that one? Samson Dowd has the most balanced legs, big sweeping quads, master show. Yeah,
I just had to do that.
That was a good edit. You say the illusion thing all the time. Yeah, James, I'm speaking to you directly, James, and this is tough love. If you dropped 50 pounds, you would look twice as big. This is a guy in my gym who's super strong, big dude. I think you're about 250, 260, I'm guessing, James. If you drop down, you're not going to like what I'm saying, but if you drop down to like 215, 220, you would look so much bigger, so much bigger. So I know James. James is not cool. Illusion thing all the time. I know he's going to take that in the spirit it was meant for. He says, Sai says, how are you saying that mainstream media, you're banned for life? From true. That's why I appreciate you. Yeah, you got to walk a fine line, because we live in a time where people are very easily offended. Especially special interest groups. If you say anything that can be interpreted as, hate speech or racist or sexist or anything, just, we have to all be very, very careful now. It's a different time. I think things have gone, believe me, I think for many years it was cringy when if you look at old TV shows, old movies, it's cringy, a lot of stuff that they were saying and representing on screen. But I think it's swung a little bit too far the other way. Wow. Now we're just like too afraid to say anything.
Agreed.
Yeah. James, 260. I love tough love, bro. All right, James, drop the damn weight. Drop it. Yeah. You have an awesome son. He posts videos. He has a beautiful boy that's already got a great positive attitude. You want to be alive for many more years. That's one reason I stay. Yes, I'm on gear. I should be on strict TRT, but I keep all my health markers in check. I get the heart test and that. I want to be around. My kids are older. My son just turned 24 the other day. My daughter will be 30 years old in April. My God, how that time flew. And I want to be around to see, she'll have kids. I don't know about my son, but my son-in-law is pushing to start a family now. So I predict in the next year, I'll probably become next year or two at the most, I'll probably become a grandfather. I appreciate the fact that she held out so long, because I come from 7 kids. There was 2 sisters, and then my mom had 5. My mother had 2 daughters, and then 2 girls, and then 5 boys. The oldest, Robin, my sister, she had her first child at age 16. He had his first child at age 17. So do the math. She was a grandmother at, is that 31 or 32? 32, right?
What?
Yeah. What's 16 plus 17? Does anybody know? 33?
16 plus 17?
16 plus 17. Oh, this is math. I don't like math.
You're putting me on the spot here.
Isn't it sad that I can't even do that in my head? 15 plus 15. That's really sad. Wow. I think it's 33. So my sister was a grandmother at 33. Yeah, that's right. So here I am.
33, you're right. Yeah.
So, and then that kid was 16 or 17 when he had. So my sister was a great grandmother by the time she was like before 50 anyway. So yeah. Wow. Oh, good Lord. Wayne says 31. Oh, is that only 31? Is that right? 16? Anyway,
it's 33.
33. I mean, that's very young to be a grandparent.
16 plus 17 is 33.
James, working on it, brother. Appreciate you all your input. Yeah. Do it, man. You'll look fit. You'll look so much better. You'll feel so much better. I feel, people say, oh, do you miss being, I used to bulk up to 235 to 245 was my off-season range for many years. But anything over like 235, I never felt good. It was very uncomfortable. That's relatively speaking. I know these guys get up to 300 pounds over, but for me, 240, 245 at 5'8", for me, that was a lot of weight. I was very uncomfortable. I can't imagine these guys that are carrying way more than that. Of course, they're genetic freaks, so they're carrying more muscle versus fat. I just didn't like it. I was out of breath, just short walks upstairs, bending over to tie my shoelace if they came undone. Felt like my head was going to explode. It was just rough. And all the eating, I was always full, bloated. It was. Sai says, you look like 30, 34, Max. Your check is in the mail. I don't know if you know that phrase, but that's thank you for the compliment. I know I don't. So if this was so my hairline used to be here, right about there. Yeah. I'm trying to get my finger. Why can't I get my fingers to match? Because I'm doing it in the camera. Anyway, it was about an inch, 2 inches lower. Then I would really look about 35, I think, because I don't do Botox or anything, but I don't have any wrinkles. Turkey, apparently, you can get hair transplant in Turkey for like $4,000. Go to Istanbul. If you do it in the U.S., it's like $30,000 to $40,000. That's how much cheaper it is in Turkey because apparently their economy is in shambles, and our dollar is worth way more over there than their dollar. So my wife and I have been talking. I might make a little short trip to Turkey next year. I think it would chop off a piece of my scalp back here in the bottom, plant it right there. I don't know what they're going to do for the little bald spot I'm getting in the back, but yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why go bald if you don't have to? Yeah. I mean,
I can understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's a self-conscious thing. I know I still have some hair, but it used to be, I see my son every day. She just turned 24. That's the exact hair that I used to have. His hairline is down to here, thick, bushy, thick, full, beautiful hair, head of hair. And I'm like, that used to be my hair. Damn it. Yeah, I don't believe in aging gracefully if you can counteract it. When I was a kid, people in their 50s looked, compared to people in their 50s now, nobody took care of themselves. Nobody tried to look younger. People they didn't work out. They didn't eat right. They smoked. They drank. Mm-hmm. Cosmetic surgery was something only like Hollywood celebrities did. And it was like a big secret. They never talked about it. Times have changed. People don't
look at Archie Bunker. He's supposed to be 47 on the show, and he looks like he's 67.
Is that? No, I
actually
think
77. I would say he looks older than that.
I think he was only in his 40s back then. In fact, somebody put up a comparison of Golden Girls with their ages that they were on the show versus like a current celebrity at the same age. And you're like, oh my God, that looks like their mom. Some of them they're way younger than you thought they were if you look at it now. Like
my cousin, for instance, give you an example. My cousin's a year older than I am. Full on gray, overweight, and looking probably about 70-ish.
Wow, that's rough.
Yeah.
Does she not care?
I think, maybe her lifestyle, who knows? But like you said, different choices.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, you know what? And I try not to be too judgy because that's shallow to judge people by their appearance. And some people, that's not a priority. They don't care about looking older. Like my wife is obsessed with not looking older. She's obsessed with it. She spends a lot of money and a lot of time on her face, a lot of stuff. She hasn't had a facelift, but she's had things done, different types of injections and whatever. And that's what makes her happy. But if someone else doesn't care and they're not bothered by looking 55 or whatever, then God bless them. To each their own. But if you want to look younger, if that's something that makes you feel better about yourself, to have that appearance, then by all means do it. Why not? Nothing wrong with it. Wayne says, quick question: site injections ruin legs. What do you think? I don't know about site injections per se, but I will never stick a needle in my quad ever again. I've had several bad experiences, horrible experiences, where one time I almost went septic, and I think I would have had to go to the emergency room where I would have died, where the whole leg turned red. It puffed up. I couldn't walk on that leg. And I think the day before it was already halfway there, and I had to help my son move into his college dorm in a building at UMass Amherst that had no elevator. We weren't allowed to use the elevator for some reason. We had to go up 3 flights of stairs. Long story short, I've had bad experience. I'll never stick a needle in there again because there's too many nerves in there. There's too many. The chances of really hitting a nerve and screwing things up, I don't know why, but they're much, much worse in the leg. I've seen other content creators who know more about than me say similar things. But site injections, I don't think there's any point in site injecting your legs because it would be such a huge volume of oil. They used to accuse Rami of that. I don't believe personally. You guys can believe what you want to believe. I don't believe Rami ever shot up his quads. I think that's just the genetics plus all the gear, and he trained hard and he built these monstrous legs. I don't think that was synthol. I would also be concerned about leg separation. There would be no point in having these huge legs that had like no definition, didn't have deep separation, detail, striations. That's when if you see pictures of Platz in his prime, really good crisp pictures, you'll see he had super deep, clear separations between all the heads of the quads. Quads have 4 heads. That to me is so much more impressive than someone who's got these big legs that just look like big washed out lumps of Play-Doh or something. You guys don't know what Play-Doh is. Oh, they still have Play-Doh, don't they? Yeah. James,
I think they might, maybe.
They probably do. I mean, I don't keep up with the toys because my kids haven't been young for many, many years now. James getting down to 225. Bald is beautiful. Well, James, you have a nice head. I have a lumpy head. Whatever. TJ, if you want to shave your head and be bald, go for it. If you want to have Fabio hair down to here, go for it. Whatever you feel you look best at, whatever look you prefer for yourself. Here we go. Sophia in the Golden Girls was the youngest of them all. That will blow your mind, Ron. She played the oldest, but she was the youngest. No, I think I saw that, and that did blow my mind. That was crazy. Yeah, Sophia. Which one was Sophia? Who played
Estelle
her?
Getty.
Oh, she was the youngest out of all of them?
Yeah. But the makeup made her look, of course, older. When she was out of the makeup, she looked, of course, a lot younger.
That's crazy. That does surprise me. Wow. Because I mean, Maud. I still call her Maud. What's her name?
B. Arthur.
Yeah. I mean, she
was the oldest, I think.
I think
she was. Rue McClanahan.
And then there's Maud. Guys, that's it's funny. Someone asked me, would you
get copyright for that?
Someone asked me, like, it came up in one of the Ask Rons, like, would you date a girl in her 20s? And I said, for several reasons, I said, no. If for some reason I'm find myself single, which is not going to happen, but I would be spending so much time explaining pop culture references. I would get exhausted. I said, no, this was a show in the 70s. No, never mind. It would just be so much work. They're children. Women in their 20s, to me, they're children. They really are. I'm sorry. You're not fully formed. Your brain isn't even done developing yet. Kyle says, thanks for live running. Make my train journey more enjoyable. Where are you taking a train to? They still take trains, right? Yeah. What are some great train movies?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That's a good one. What was that? The one that won Best Picture it was from India. What was that called? Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire?
Slumdog Millionaire. There was a great, when they were kids, that whole sequence when they were young on the train, that was great.
Yeah, that's right.
Polar Express, the animated movie with Tom Hanks. That was a great train movie.
Definitely a good holiday movie and great train movie.
Train to Busan, the Korean zombie movie. Great movie.
Yeah. That was fantastic. I love that one.
This is off topic, but has anyone seen on Prime, Amazon Prime, there's a spin-off show to The Boys. It's the V Academy, I think it's called. It's like
Gen V. Yeah.
Gen V, yeah. Has anybody seen that? I'm sure it's well done.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to try to probably catch up with it soon.
Well, tonight is part 2 on Prime of Continental from the John Wick universe. The prequel, it's a prequel series to John Wick movies. It is amazing. I love this show. Love it. They better, if they don't introduce, tie it all together with a little boy John Wick at the end of it, I'm going to be very, very angry. I'll tell you that right now. They better have John Wick as a little pup at the end of that series.
I have yet to watch the John Wick movies, but I plan to.
What?
I plan to. Yeah, I know. I know.
Okay, I'm guilty. I haven't seen the 4th one yet. So I'm partially guilty, but I've seen part 1 10 times, part 2 and 3, probably 3 or 4 times each. Yeah, I mean, I never thought Keanu Reeves at The Matrix. It's amazing that he's had two very successful franchises with iconic characters. The Matrix and the John Wick movies. I mean, wow. Because Matrix, I thought he would be typecast forever after that. No one, we're always going to think he's Neo from the Matrix. But no, now I see him. That's John Wick. Yeah. Let's see. Since we're talking about legs, if I'm doing a leg workout twice in a week, how many days do I have to do cardio? Without cardio, my body doesn't look muscular. So I would do cardio every day except the day after legs on those days. So if you're doing legs, say Monday and Friday, I wouldn't do cardio on Tuesday or Saturday, if that makes sense. Give your legs a day of full rest, meaning no cardio, the day after legs. That's what I would do. Wayne, is legs more important than back? I think when Nick walked back, Marine covers legs, both amazing bodybuilders, but not the best legs. Yeah, I would say weak legs ruin more poses than weak back, but a weak back will hold you back. Good example, and I'm not picking on him because his fans are going to come at me with the pitchforks. Roman Fritz. If Roman had a better back, thicker back, I think he would be beating a lot of the guys who are beating him right now. That's a guy with crazy legs, awesome legs, beautiful separation, detail, that dry, grainy condition. But, Giles pointed out when we did our preview that's up now, the MD Power Hour, because Roman's doing another show, the Charou Classic France tomorrow. His back development is really lagging. When people have weak backs, there's this phenomenon where from the front, they look twice as big as they do when they turn around. I've seen guys that look like super heavies from the front, and they turn around, they're light heavies from the back. It's very disappointing. They call it the posterior chain. So that's your back, your glutes, and your hams, your calves too, I suppose. If your posterior chain is lacking in development compared to your front, that would be the anterior chain. It's just not a good look. You don't have a balanced physique. You're supposed to be symmetrical, left to right. What they call it, balance and proportions. Top to bottom, left to right, front to back. Everything should be in proportion. Nothing should really stand out. Nothing should catch your eyes like, wow, what a great chest, or what a weak chest. Nothing should really be much better or worse than anything else. That's what the perfect physique. Somebody like a Flex Wheeler, everything was just perfectly proportioned. And classic, I think, you see more of that in classic, I think, than you do in open, because that's an attribute that they seem to put more emphasis on. The fourth one is almost as good as first. A very, very good run. Yeah, Wayne, I almost saw it. We were in Brisbane, Australia. We had just eaten at Nando's. This was in April when we went out to visit our son. He was doing a semester at Queensland University, Brisbane. And we were walking through a mall, and the movie theater upstairs was playing John Wick, and I was like dying to see it. I'm like, I'm here on vacation in Australia. Do I really want to sit 3 hours in a movie theater? And I'm like, no. So I didn't see it. It's not even out on. I don't think it is. It out on? I think it's just on pay-per-view right now, like on demand. I don't see it. It's not on Redbox. You can't get the DVD. It's not any of the streaming services. Yeah, John Wick. Yeah, I'm going to watch John Wick 4. It's the last one. I have to see it. Much appreciate it. Yeah, I'm about to go. Gary Stridham, phenomenal body. Yes, good example. Great example. Gary Stridham never had a back that matched his front. Never. His back got better in the couple of years after he was out of the FBB and he was competing in the WBF. He was their only champion in the two shows they had. His back was a little better because he got bigger. He was probably about 15 pounds more mass overall when he was with the WBF, the short-lived organization that was an invention of Vince McMahon of WWF, which is now WWE. But yeah, Gary never had a great back. And best he ever did in the Olympia was 5th place. But I think if he had a back, that was the 88 Olympia in Los Angeles, he was 5th place. If he had a back that was as developed as everything else, I think he would have done better than that. So, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We've been on here a long time, but this was our first experiment. I was just going to do it on the phone, but Jen talked me into doing it on Steam. What's this called? StreamYard? Yeah,
StreamYard.
Says it right there. So, she was kind enough to do this, walk me through, because on my own, I don't know, I wouldn't have known how to really pull up the videos and stuff like she did. I'm learning. I'll learn because we have to make the transition to this soon from Zoom to StreamYard. So feeling a little more confident. Thanks to Jen walking me through it like a little baby. So
my pleasure. It was fun.
Jen, she's doing all this with a sprained ankle. Yeah, I'm sitting here with my leg. I can only sit like this for after about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I have to go and put the leg up. It's getting better and better, but yeah, I still can't sit there like this for too long. So thanks, Jen. Thanks for all of you. Let's strain my eyes. I'm more worried about my knee at this point, my quad tendon. But thanks to everyone who joined us on the chat. We had a really good time. I like this new feature that StreamYard has where we can put stuff on the screen. Pay-per-view, no, Wayne, I'm a little upset about this.
Not this time, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. And now I have a Saturday. We have another Saturday off because next Saturday's Legion Sports. It's going to be that's going to be a great show. They have a stream. You can get that stream right now if you want to. You can buy it. But this show tomorrow, the 2 BP events, I checked again this morning. There's still nothing. They're not going to have a stream, it's unfortunate. This is the last chance for all the European pros to get their Olympic qualification, and they don't have a stream. So if you're not in France, they're live and in person. You don't get to see it. And I'm sure if you watch your Instagram tomorrow, if you follow a lot of top European bodybuilders, I'm damn sure they're going to be streaming live on their Instagram tomorrow. But you're not going to be able to see it on a pay-per-view. But next Saturday, definitely, we'll have that. We're going to be doing wrap-ups of the Legion Sports.
Yes, we will.
Right here on the StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
You can't train
With all of you, and we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna be able to incorporate you guys just like this, so you can argue about who should have won, who's looking good, who's not looking good. It's gonna be a good time. So set your calendars. If you don't have your updates turned on, just so you know, you have to have them turned on your YouTube as well as on your phone to get updates for when we're going live. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel already with the other 300 and almost 40,000, what do we got now?
Also, Ron, if you guys want to stream like us, get the link in the description. You'll get a discount.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this is way better than Zoom. So, of course, I thought it, but I can already see it's a much better service. Now I understand why all these top YouTubers and podcasters use it. So that's it, guys. Again, if you like these videos, hit the like button. If you want to share them once they're done uploading, please share them on your social media. We appreciate it very much. And that's it. We'll see you here live next Saturday for Legion Sports, but we'll have more and more video content. So put your notifications on, check the channel. We got all kinds of great content here all the time for you guys. And we like the fact that you watch it. That helps a lot. So that's it. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Jen Urisi over there in Long Island, New York.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Probably rainy and dismal over there today like it is here.
It is rainy. It is dismal. It's cold. But you know what? I like the cold better than the heat.
Oh, dude, I would never ever move to Florida. That's the North for you guys from outside the USA. It's like a cliche that people from New England and New York, New Jersey, they all end up moving down to Florida when they get old. I'm good. I don't like the heat. I'll stay right. My ass is staying right here in Boston. That's it.
Here.
Yeah, here. All right. Well, I'm going to end the stream, guys. Again, thanks for watching. And that's it. We'll see you right here next time. Peace.